Welcome aboard, everyone. Don here from Eat Sleep Cruise. Happy Wednesday, and always I'm joined with my good friend, John.
Hey, everybody. Glad you're here. Thanks for joining us. And, of course, we're going to be talking about the Utopia of the Seas. The big reveal happened on this week. And so what are you excited about it? Or do you want to tell everybody about the Utopia of the Seas?
Yeah, well, of course, if you have any questions, we're here live Q&A. As people know, at least we're mega ship fans. We love it. The bigger, the better, we always say. So Utopia Seas is going to be one of the largest ships when she sets sail next year. And as John mentioned, we heard a lot more from Royal Caribbean just a couple of days ago. So happy to dive into the details. Thing I'm most excited about, great question. Well, there's some new stuff we'll talk about. I guess I love to eat and drink. The name Eat Sleep Cruise. I think I was talking to you about that new bar that I'm really excited about. The Pesky Parrot? That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, and you had said it. You think it's similar to Mariner of the Seas, a new bar in Mariner of the Seas, right?
I think so. Let's have a slide here. We got some slide. Oh, here she is. Yeah, I think it's reminiscent of, for folks who've been on Mariner or Navigator, it's probably gonna be similar to the Bamboo Room, which has this kind of Polynesian tiki vibe. Lots of rum drinks, and it's got some kind of little Disney-esque touches with kind of this parrot that jumps around from some of the paintings, some of the wall art. So I'm thinking that's going to be kind of a similar vibe here. What does that? You think that sounds about right?
That sounds right. Yeah, that's amazing. I have not I've not been back on the Mariner of the Seas since it's been revamped or amplified, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, but I just wanted to say, I know I had a user ask me a question late last night about the Utopia of the Seas, and they just seemed to really necessarily know about the ship. But I said, really, this is just an extension of what they've done in Wonder of the Seas. So if you're a fan of Wonder of the Seas, and if you liked what you saw in Wonder of the Seas, they're taking the enhancements they did there, the suite neighborhood and many of the other architectural designs, and they're taking it to the next level. We've got the mason jars returning, and of course they've really added a lot more things that we're going to go do a deep dive in here. They've done more and more, and so I've got a long list of stuff here we can go, and I know Don does too. We both overthought this a little bit, and we both did our research separately, independently of each other, so we have all kinds of research, so
you can never have enough research, Sean.
Yeah.
Never can have enough.
Yeah, so you've got two cruise ship geeks here that have gone crazy on this. So we've got plenty of stuff. But I just on that note, I do want to recommend, or do want to invite everybody to please leave a comment below if you have a question or concern. If you just want to say hi and check in, let us know about your upcoming cruise. Please do that. Like I said, I'm John Schell from Cruise Addicts. You can visit me at cruiseaddicts.com, and he is Don. And Don, how can they reach you?
At Eat Sleep Cruise, and of course it's Don and Heidi. Can't forget the producer in charge here. The home studios in the New England area. But yeah, we're excited. We got some folks already, some comments, John. People are excited. We got, I think, Michelle over on YouTube, and she's excited about Utopia Seas. We're excited too. For folks who don't know, bookings for Crown and Anchor start tomorrow. So Crown and Anchor is the loyalty program for Royal Caribbean. And then I think the general public is the next day. So if you haven't already talked to your travel advisor, find out what they're doing for different promotions and deals running on. There you go. You thought we overthought this, Sean.
We are the new dream team.
Well, there's only two of us. We need more. We need more players. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, so tomorrow goes on sale. We've already talked to our trusted travel advisor.
Did you forget Heidi?
Huh?
Did you forget your queen?
The queen? Oh,
she's not.
I don't let her book these.
But she's part of the team.
It's 2.5. We'll get 2.5 then.
Half?
I'm cutting these to half. She's the full.
Okay.
Maybe you're the half. I don't know.
Oh, are you calling me short?
Oh, I didn't even mean to go there. No, I didn't. But yeah, so I don't know if you have it here. What's the unique thing about this ship's itineraries?
Well, yeah, I've got it up here. Let's see here. I've got a nice list. Let's see. Got to find everything. Okay, so it's coming. Oh, sorry, I'm a little bit out of order here. It is I know it's the first ship, the first Oasis-class ship ever to do 3 or 4 night cruises. And I've got to sit there and find it here. Where did I put it?
So right
here.
There it is.
I'm back
first
to
right
here.
off the bat. So the first to offer in their inaugural season 3 and 4 day cruises, which is actually great because doing shorter cruises gives some people the ability to test it out who might be new to cruising, or just who can't take a full week off. So there's a lot to do in the ship. You're not gonna be able to do it all in 3 or 4 days, 100%. So we're probably gonna try to do it back to back. Already told my travel agent look into it, but it is pretty exciting that this really differentiates Royal Caribbean because no one else will have a ship like this doing 3 and 4 day cruises from any cruise line.
Yeah, this is a big deal. And it's debuting in July of 2024, sailing from Port Canaveral. Yeah. And the cool thing about it is we haven't gotten this yet, is all the itineraries stop at Perfect Day Coco Cay. And the news release actually said that they've got a new adults-only area called the Hideaway Beach, which is also opening around the same time. So that's really exciting as well.
Yeah, that's the game plan. I haven't seen many updates yet on Hideaway Beach, but they're building it down there. And obviously, anyone who goes Perfect Day Coco Cay when that opens will be able to experience that who's an adult. But they're trying to time it right when Utopia Seas is ready, that will be ready. But amazing opportunity to do a 3 or 4 day cruise, or like us try to do it back to back. But my only fear with that back to back is it's going to be pretty hefty price tag, right?
Yeah. 3 and 4. One thing about 3 or 4 night cruises, they're usually more expensive. And you say, well, why? Because a lot of people do think that smaller cruises would be cheaper. Well, usually on a whole, the shorter cruises are more expensive on a per diem basis, a per day basis. So, and that's just because more people can take off less time than others. So you do better by taking the longer cruises, and maybe on the not necessarily the newest ship out there. So this is going to be probably a little pricier on a per day basis because you got a brand new ship. I mean, Royal Caribbean, they're really packing on some amazing new features. Like, so we're looking, we got so much to talk about. All these new features that Royal Caribbean fans are going to want to see and enjoy, and then you're having those short cruises on top of it all. So it's gonna have a little bit of a price increase, a normal ship. So if you're looking for value, you may have to look elsewhere, or maybe just try to do it. Look, we've talked about this too. Do it at an off time. Maybe do it in October, November, December, those times of the year when there's not a holiday going on during your sailing. So maybe around Thanksgiving, so on and so forth. But so much stuff, and it's a big ship too. Here's some of the statistics: 236,000 tons, 18 decks, 2,834 staterooms, and 5,668 guests. And that's just double occupancy. They're not even counting all the little kids that they can add there. So that number can go up.
Yeah, with the upper berths, I'm sure it adds at least, you could probably get another 1,000 or so. So with the crew, you're looking at all out, maxed out during those holiday cruises, probably 8,000 plus people on that ship. But doesn't bother me. We like it. So a couple questions coming in. If folks have questions, of course, ask. We had one from, I think, right on Harthus. Do you think Utopia and Icon will be similar? So this kind of threw people off, right, John? Because in the beginning of the week, Icon of the Seas, which is going to be the newest ship until Utopia, did its sea trials. Now Icon is its own class, Icon class, and it's actually going to be the biggest class. I think 255,000 gross tons, so pretty massive. This one, as you just said, 236,000. I think Icon Utopia totally different, as John mentioned earlier. I would think Utopia is like a more enhanced Wonder of the Seas, and Wonder of the Seas is really a more enhanced Allure, Oasis, Harmony. I think all of those kind of Oasis, Allure, Harmony, and Symphony, when you think of those together, they have a few little differences here and there. But then Wonder, and John and I, we got to sail on Wonder, totally it just felt more spacious outside. The venues felt bigger. Obviously, the decor and layout was different. I think Utopia is going to be more like that. And an Icon, like with that giant water park and the way the aft is set up with the infinity pool and the 2-story promenade, Icon is going to be completely different. A class all its own, so to speak. But I mean, wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, it's totally different. I'd say just like apples and oranges, really totally different classes of ships. So you'd have to do a little bit of a deeper dive, Patty, to kind of really look at those differences. because from a distance they might seem similar a little bit, but when you look closer at Icon of the Seas, it really is a total game changer in a sense of what's available. I mean, so many changes coming with Icon of the Seas, and a lot of this stuff still, even with this ship, they haven't told us everything, so we're still learning things. But we wanted to bring you these first look type of things of news to let you know what's going on. And speaking of first, we haven't touched this yet. It's actually the first LNG powered Oasis-class ship ever, so that's exciting.
Yeah, I mean, all the ships are going to these cleaner fuels, this type of energy, trying to be able to be eco-friendly. So excited about that. Considering these are the largest, I guess, second class largest ships. So they're the largest right now until Icon set sail, which is going to be January of next year. Like right now, slated for January of next year, so less than a year away. But yeah, it's very exciting, and I think Icon will also be LNG, but it's a different class of ship as well. So I'm all for it. I want to be as eco-friendly as possible.
Yeah, many of the ships, of course, are able to plug in at different ports, sometimes home ports, sometimes distance ports. And I know a lot of the cruisers out there have that on their mind. It's just something to consider and think about, and it makes them feel a bit better about, their travel choices.
Yeah, and I think, MSC is really big on this too, and they talk about the ability of when they build for LNG2 to be built in such a way that when that next technology comes out or that next fuel source or whatever innovation is available, that it's easier to plug and play, like to switch things out, whereas some of the older engines and older designs, they're basically stuck with that type of fuel source or that type of engine design, whereas as things are becoming more innovative, they can now because we don't know what the fuel source 10 years from now will be. We don't know what type of technology is going to be out there, but these ships are going to be out there, right? These ships are built, they have a longer lifespan than some of the vessels that were maybe built even 30, 40 years ago. So you're going to see Oasis-class, Icon-class, these ships, whether they're under Royal's banner or, I don't know who could buy these. They're very specific looking ships, right? Like if some regional carrier 10 years from now bought the first Oasis, I don't know what they could do to change it up. So these ships will be around for quite a while, and they want to be as economical and eco-friendly as possible.
Are we going to be like the old guys, like sitting by the port one day, like that used to be Royal Caribbean back in the day, or why? I was on that ship.
I remember when that was the largest ship, and then they're like, sure, there's like 400,000 gross ton ships, like 10,000 people on it. People like, that ship's small, but it wasn't too long ago, right? Carnival was the first cruise line that had 100,000 gross ton ship in the early 90s, I want to say, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was something like, Carnival really made a big thing of the Destiny class. I know made a big splash. I think even Princess really was the first, I think, to go over like 100,000. That was like a big deal. Trying to think of the names, but yeah, it's come back to me now. There was like a constant like pushing the levels up closer to 100,000. Then it crossed over. I know the Voyager of the Seas was very revolutionary back in 1999, I think it was. That was a big deal. I was on board that, and then of course Mariner followed after that. Several times after that, and there's so much changes. I actually got married on Mariner. That's my big thing. I think I have to say that every time.
I was just gonna say you have to say that.
I have to say it every time.
It's like contractual. Your wife's like,
yeah, I have to say it. You heard that, honey, right? Okay, just making sure she's listening. So, yeah. See, but I am older than Don, so I'm starting like back in the day.
Just a couple days. You're just a couple days older. But I mean, it is that is true because a Voyager, then Freedom was like a small evolution on that, and then of course,
well, it's a totally different class, right? Freedom
class was kind of an evolution of Voyager, but then Oasis class is kind of something completely different, right? Now they've been iterating on that.
Now we have Icon,
yeah. Now we have Icon, which is kind of totally building off of that too. Some folks saying hi over on YouTube. Ocean Travel saying hello back. We got Stephanie over here. She was on the inaugural for Oasis. Jealous. That's awesome. And we'll be booking tomorrow for Utopia. And again, you mentioned it. You had the slide up. Crown and Anchor folks get a full day ahead. So odds are those first couple sailings, they'll be pricey, but they'll sell out tomorrow. Don't you think?
Yeah, and of course, with Crown and Anchor, you can get your discounts a lot of times just being a member, depending on your status. And then who knows, once you get in there, maybe maybe they'll have a senior rate. I don't know what's available, but definitely contact your travel agent. I always believe contacting your travel agent is the best because they're aware of the broader scope of deals and opportunities to save money. And at the very least, get a deposit down there, lock it in, and you can always, rebook it or, whatever you need to do. But definitely just lock in that rate.
Yeah, and most travel advisors can get you a 24-hour lock, right? Each cruise line's a little different, so of course talk to them tonight, email them or whatever. I know some cruise lines it's 48 or 24 hours they can get you that lock. So check it out, and prices do fluctuate that first day. I know Disney's the worst. Disney Cruise Line, like they just roll things out incrementally. Like if you're at this tier, it's this many days. If you're at this tier, it's that many days. But Royal's just saying, hey, we're open the floodgates tomorrow for Utopia. And they kind of did the same thing for Icon too, which we were lucky enough to get a booking on what right now is the first Icon, but who knows, they could.
And I think just to clarify, I was thinking a lot of times you can put a deposit down. Let's say it's a year out, right? So we have a little bit of time, almost a year away. So maybe you put a deposit down and then you lock in your cabin and you might not have to make payment until 90 days before final payment or what have you. And as long as you're not in penalty, you can always change your booking or rebook something. You might not be the same rate, but.
Yeah, I mean, all the fares are different. So definitely check the fine print there about what each rate is included. Because I agree with you, there is some flexibility, but I feel like the cruise lines more and more have been kind of cutting back on that. And if you don't read the fine print, you might have to pay more to get a more flexible rate, but it'd be over a year out. At least for the first day, you can definitely get a hold on it, check out what the rates are. Because keep in mind, too, something like Utopia of the Seas, there's so many cabin categories, and there's a couple new ones that I'm sure are going to sell out quickly. Like they have the new Solarium Suites kind of in the front of the ship. But they also have ocean view balconies. They have neighborhood balconies, Central Park balconies, all these different types of cabins. So you might want one type of cabin, and it might be full. But then you lock in another one, and then another one becomes available because people put those holds on. So you got to be flexible, and especially when a ship as exciting as this is coming out.
Yeah, and the coolest thing is you can actually say, I don't know if you have a slide for this, Don.
What? Which one?
For the food truck.
I do have a food truck, so pardon, I can't preview it somewhere, John. There she goes.
Yeah. Okay.
They actually asked me to model for this, so I was like, okay, if you need me, just for a couple of minutes, I'll model in the pool for you. But they're bringing a food truck here. So the food truck's new. Now they've had a food truck before on Quantum Class, which ended up becoming basically the doghouse on Oasis. So what do you think they're gonna? So they're gonna have the doghouse already announced. Doghouse is on the boardwalk. They're already going to have an El Loco Fresh, which does Tex-Mex. That's going to be on Utopia. Park Cafe, that's in Central Park, doing the sandwiches and all that. So what do you think they're going to put in the food truck, given they have all these other concepts already announced that will be on the ship?
I don't know. The only thing they said was casual bites.
Yeah. I think they used the term handheld, so I'm thinking...
Yeah, maybe burgers, chicken sandwiches. I know they like grilled chicken sandwiches, fried chicken sandwiches. I don't know.
That would be nice if you're talking like the food shack, or the snack shack, snack shacks on Coco Cay.
Yeah.
That would be... Yeah,
because I know they had grilled chicken sandwiches there.
Yeah, well, that would be perfect because they have to bring that food to the island anyway. And I always think that's one thing Royal hasn't had on their pool deck. If you think of like Celebrity or Holland America Line, Holland America Line's got the dive-in burger shop right near the pool. Celebrity ships have the mass grill. Princess has the burger and lobster grill. Royal doesn't have a grill, at least a complimentary. Sometimes Johnny Rockets is around there, but that's an upcharge. So I would be surprised if John, you hit on something. Maybe it'll be similar to the snack shacks with chicken sandwiches, burgers, and maybe the mozzarella sticks. I would go for that.
That'd be awesome. And it looks quite large. I mean, that's not just it's like almost a double wide food truck. So apparently they're ready for high volume. So that'd be great to see what comes out of it.
Yeah, and plus, I mean, the Windjammer is fine. This Windjammer is going to be bigger. Like I said, we were just on it. So, folks, Harmony of the Seas, which same class of ship, but older vessel, so nowhere near as innovative. And the Windjammer during the middle of the day, the line was like out the door. Literally, like I walked into the elevator bank area and I looked on both sides and I'm like, this is a line to wash your hands. It was like backed out. So anything that you can do on these ships to offer more grab and go close to the pool or something on Central Park or down near the boardwalk or any of those neighborhoods that you don't have to go to the Windjammer, I'm all for.
Yeah, I think it's great, and I think that's way overdue, and it's good to see that included because, of course, if it works here, they might add it onto other ships, during upgrades.
Definitely, yeah. It seems like something simple, and like I said, obviously they're going to keep the menu basic. They already said handheld, snacks. But if you're by the pool, that's all you really kind of need, especially if you got your family and kids. You don't want to go sit down in the Windjammer and have to go through scooping stuff out and waiting in line to get kind of the same type of grill food maybe they'll be serving there. So
right,
I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So,
and I definitely think it helps with the crowds because if you don't have to walk to the Windjammer or someplace like that, it really helps alleviate a certain percentage, sometimes probably a large percentage of people that say, you know what, we're going to keep our spot here by the pool. We're having a great time. We've got drinks, we've got the package or whatever. Why do we need to go change or whatever and pack up our stuff just to go upstairs? So
I agree. I agree. And that's the other thing too. You want to, with everything usually near the pool area, having to go inside or go somewhere else, these options are great. But El Loco Fresh is great too. And El Loco Fresh is on Wonder of the Seas and other ships is kind of close to the pool area too. So you're going to have some more options there. And it's just going to make more comparable like to other cruise lines. Talking about food, I think I figured out how to use the slides now. So I don't have to.
Okay.
There we go. Yeah, I'm not sliding through everything. So another thing I'm excited about that you put up here, Giovanni's Italian Kitchen, arguably one of the better, or if not best, Italian restaurants at sea. 2 stories overlooking the boardwalk. Doesn't that look amazing?
Yeah, that looks wonderful. And I tell you what, that's had to be one of my favorite restaurants. It was on Symphony of the Seas, I believe, wasn't it? Yeah.
I think they're retrofitting it. So it's on Odyssey. It's
Wonder of the Seas.
Wonder.
Yeah, really, really nice. So it's good to see it in that space, a larger space, because I know it was really in demand on Wonder of the Seas. And there had so many different options. I know there was like a wine and charcuterie and stuff like that, and pizzas for like late night bites as well. So see it in this big, beautiful space is really, really nice.
Definitely. And now we're thinking, given where this is and what they've announced, that it's probably going to be replacing Wonderland. So if you look at Wonderland, for folks who maybe aren't too familiar, kind of this more experiential style dining, which is themed kind of like Alice in Wonderland. So it's not just food. There's this whole show that goes into it, and the meals are prepared. The different entrees and starters are prepared in unique ways. We're thinking, which makes sense to us, that this is actually replacing it, just giving where it is, and that Royal hasn't said that there's going to be a Wonderland on the ship. At least I'm double checking my notes. Doesn't look like it. So I'm willing to make that trade-off. I like Wonderland. For me, Wonderland is like only certain cruises will do Wonderland, whereas, as you mentioned, with the menu at Giovanni's, there's a wine bar. You can just get a pizza and apps or do a full meal. I feel like it just gives you more flexibility.
Yeah, and personally, I would probably eat at Giovanni's twice, whereas Wonderland, I did it once, and we did it on Symphony of the Seas for the first time. It was really, really nice. We've kind of checked that box, so I don't know if I'd actually do it again.
That's fair. We've done it a few times. We just did it in harmony with my brother because he's never been there. He enjoyed it, but I agree with you. It's not something you're going to do very often. It doesn't have a lot of that repeat, whereas Giovanni's, we've been to between Odyssey, Wonder. We've been there at least 3 or 4 times. I think one time on Wonder, we went to the wine bar and just got a pizza because we weren't that hungry and we didn't want to go to the main dining room. So I think hopefully this will have the same setup too. So it's 2 stories. So there'll be like the restaurant and then the more kind of just get appetizers and things at the wine bar nearby or upstairs.
Yeah. And then I know the big news was also that Izumi in the park. I don't know if we showed that slide. I know we kind of showing different things here.
I think we have Izumi in the park. Yeah. So that's another, I think this is it. There she is. We did it. We're in sync. We did this together.
Yeah. That looks great because I know there was a lot of spaces. There seemed to be extra space for this type of thing, where there was spaces that weren't necessarily utilized or was part of the walkways and pathways. But that's really, really nice to see them try something different, move the Italian restaurant into a different space, and put this. I mean, Izumi is obviously really, really popular with everybody, and I know sushi and dumplings and stuff like that. So really, really cool to see this here.
It is, and I mean, when they first announced Central Park and then the boardwalk and all those areas, the whole idea is like to give people more outdoor spaces. And now they're just finding ways. First of all, they're making them slightly bigger, or probably much bigger, but they're just reconfiguring them to get you even more outdoor space. So I do like this concept here, and it allows them to do it because they moved Giovanni's. Again, 90% sure where Wonderland is on some of these other ships, and then that gives you space to move Izumi here and put it on Central Park, as opposed to it being near the main dining rooms, like on Harmony. I think it's deck 4. So it's kind of down low, closed off, doesn't really get much foot traffic. Right now it's bright, and they have this kind of to-go counter. So you can grab something, maybe C-Day. I'm sure it'll be open for lunch. C-Day, grab something quick, eat here for an upcharge, most likely. And it allows you to enjoy more of the outdoor spaces on the ship.
Yeah, people love sushi. People love dumplings. Hopefully, they might have a free option, but I think Izumi is pretty much a paid option. But really cool to see it there.
Yeah, definitely. So some folks checking in. We got our friend Adam. He couldn't miss the conversation. Thanks for joining, Adam, on YouTube. Adam. Good to see you. We're talking later. Of course, it's Royal Caribbean. He knows we're gonna be, and about food too. So
yeah. Hope to see you soon, Adam. Haven't been a while.
Yeah, and then we got a couple of questions. So we talked about this earlier, but I don't know if Riley was here, about the pricing. I would suspect if you looked at, as John mentioned earlier, if you were to combine the 3 and a 4-dayer, like price-wise, it would definitely be per day much more expensive than the typical 7-day, even for a brand new ship of this size, right? So the per day costs are going to be more, and no one knows exactly what those prices are going to be until 8 a.m. tomorrow morning, East Coast time, whatever time they open up. But if you were to put it together, and this is what happened with Disney Wish, and you looked at it and you're like, wow, that's an expensive 7-day cruise. Most people won't do that. They'll be like, all right, it's 4 days, I'm paying a little bit more, or it's 3 days, I'm paying a little bit more over the weekend. But that's why I suspect they're doing that. And it just gets more people time to check out the ship. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and I think just off the top of my head, I think you've got July, you've got high season, you have a new ship, it's Royal Caribbean. It's going to be expensive. And I think it's going to be expensive probably for 6 months or a year, the first year, until it's not necessarily the newest thing. It might be a little bit lower because Icon of the Seas is coming out as well. So that might offset it. But, any new ship that has anything, the demand is there. That means the price is going to be higher. It just goes with the territory. So, and I think the prices will be appropriate.
And that's, you just need to know that going in, and just be ready to be wild, right? I've been on these ships and I've never been disappointed.
Yeah,
we were on Wonder of the Seas. People were complaining that a couple little things weren't 100% ready yet, given when it launched. But the shows are always phenomenal. The service is great. The dining. We talked about some of the new concepts, but some of the things that launched on Wonder. Mason jar is back. Love the Mason jar. That's a really unique concept they released on Wonder of the Seas. Southern comfort food. I'm glad it's back in Utopia. We've done brunch and dinner there. So they're charging you more, but they're always elevating the experience, giving you more options and giving you something unique.
Yeah, and I definitely think they're getting to the point where they're competing with Carnival, the new Carnival ships like Mardi Gras and Carnival Celebration, where they have a lot of complimentary or provided complimentary food. That's what I'm trying to say. Those grab and go bites and stuff like that. I think all the lines are being more competitive that way, and not only increasing their paid options, but they're also creating more included options. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. Listen, I haven't done a lot of Carnival, but we've done a couple, and I will agree with you that Celebration, or the Jubilee or Carnival Mardi Gras, that class, which isn't even as big as Oasis, nothing really is, right, until Icon. Their casual included dining was better than Royal. They had the Shaq's Chicken Sack, the Guy's Burger joint. their buffet, which was fine. They have the Blue Iguana Cantina. They have pizza. They have a deli that's open till 10 o'clock. So that gave you more options. They had the Blue Java Cafe, which is kind of like Cafe Promenade in Royal. They had a lot of options that were casual, that were good, quick, and open later. Some of these cruise lines, you come back and, oh, well, this venue closes at 5 o'clock. So it's either the buffet or the main dining room. So Royals definitely heard the feedback from their fans about having more options. So you get things like the poolside food truck as an example, right?
Yeah, and I think, these brands are being very competitive. They're watching their competition. They cruise their competition. That's a fact. They know what the other brands are doing. And luckily we're in a position right now that it's elevating every brand. Every brand is doing in the equal price categories are being very competitive, and they're making a better product for us cruisers. So, right. So when you do spend that money, hopefully you're getting a great value as well.
Right. You made me laugh because I won't mention, but we have a friend, a colleague that works for a cruise line, and he was cruising quite frequently on another cruise line and posting it on his social. And I was like, I texted him, joking around with him. I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm doing recon. He's like, yeah. And then we went on a ship and we saw some of the similarities, but it was just funny. You're right. Everyone can see what these brands are doing. Anyone from Royal can go buy a ticket to go on Carnival, or Carnival can go on Norwegian can go on Royal, whatever. And everyone has a sense of what they're doing and what their core target audience wants. So they're appealing to families. They're looking to make things more flexible. People are on vacation. They want to have fun. They don't want to be stuck to a schedule. And maybe they don't want a 2-hour dinner or a 90-minute dinner in the MDR. They want something different. And now these new ships are give it to them.
Yeah, there's a lot of ships and a lot of competition, and they're making their products better. So it's a win-win for everybody.
It is. So of course, folks, ask questions below about Utopia Seas. We touched a little bit on Icon of the Seas, which also had some news this week, so you might get a little confused. There's just a lot to talk about this brand new 6th Oasis. Isn't it crazy that this is going to be the 6th Oasis-class ship? Oh, I'm going through.
Oh, I'm just doing it. Sorry, I took over.
That's all right.
Well, I was trying to find a slide for this, but I don't think you have the slide.
The Solarium Suites, I don't.
So I'm going to try to go to the video here. Let's see if I can do it.
All right, go for it.
We're learning as we go here. So this is brand new to Utopia of the Seas. They've created the Solarium Suites. So they actually have a suite neighborhood, but this is a Solarium suite. So to get the wording right, let's see if I can play it here. Oh, stand by. Stand by.
Well, with any new ship, they're always trying to do something different that hasn't been done before. So these are going to be all the way forward of the ship with some great panoramic views, extra large living area, as well as a bedroom. Technology wants to work.
I don't think it's working for some reason. I don't see the video moving for some reason.
I don't see us, John. There we are.
So I don't know why that didn't work, but I know we had this. So I know we have a picture here, so I'll try to add a picture here.
No, dude, I thought you did have one. Well, weren't you going to book one? You told me you were booking the Solarium Suites on the first cruise. So you don't have a picture of your suite already picked out?
Well, actually, I do. I have an aerial. So let me see if I can find it here.
An aerial?
Please stand by. Stand by.
You threw a drone up there?
Yep, right. Look at that. Bam. See, that's like looking down. You can see. Can we see ourselves here?
Oh. I can see myself there. I can see myself.
Yeah, I forgot this overlay. So you can see this is kind of like right below the bridge. So, but they're calling it a Solarium Suite on the Utopia of the Seas. But look how huge that is. Really, really cool. So
wouldn't that be above? Wouldn't that technically be above the bridge?
Was it above the bridge?
Well, go throw that back up. Let's go back to the
stand by.
Wouldn't the bridge be below that?
I don't know. We have to look at the floor plan. So
the deck plans. Yeah, I was looking for deck plans. I don't think they have
visual
ones up yet.
Yeah, we'll have to check it out. I had a video, but I don't know why it's working. I think we're just using up all the memory. We're pushing things to the extreme here today.
Well, just to be clear, John, I guess I'm just not. I'm too economical to be getting one of those.
Is that the word we're using?
Economical. That's what I'm using. Economical.
I need to use that with my wife.
Yeah.
Honey, we're being economical.
But I mean, those are amazing for folks who can afford them. But there's also, similar to Wonder of the Seas, they're also going to have some of those other unique family style loft suites. They have a variety of different suites in, as you mentioned, the suite neighborhood. So that's just one of the new ones that they don't have any other ship yet. So maybe if these are popular, I'm sure they'll put some of these Solarium suites on other ships, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, and so I don't know if can we add this? Yeah, so I wanted to get to this if you don't mind. So this
Take control. Go for it.
I'm so sorry, I can't talk that way. But very this is the immersive dining experience. So this is all they've showed us. They gave this rendering here, and it says this is going to have, it's an immersive dining experience. It's the first to ever debut on an Oasis-class ship. And it says we'll have multiple courses, technology, and different destinations, and even stories. It says more details to come, and the promises to be a locomotive journey that engages all the senses. So that's what they're telling us.
Yeah. Well, Matt got a preview of this. Matt from the Royal Caribbean blog. I'm sure if you're watching this, might have heard of him. Little website, little YouTube channel. So I'm thinking it's going to use similar technology to what they have in the Gateway on Celebration, right? So they have those interactive screens. So there's going to be a restaurant with some interactive screens, maybe similar to folks who've done the Hogwarts Express, or I might be butchering that, but the Harry Potter train ride where you're sitting down and the screens kind of simulate motion. But it seems like a cool experience. It's going to be an upcharge, right? Obviously. And again, just something unique, differentiates itself. I think there's going to be one on Icon, so it's going to be the first Oasis class that will have this experience. And the good thing about this, you can switch it out, right? They can change the stories, they can update it, they can probably retheme it over time. That way you're not stuck with the same one type of experience or trip there. So it gives you a little bit more ability to use some of that technology. Yeah, I'd give it a shot. Would you do it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'd like to check it out. And Princess is doing something similar to like this too, all right? And I can't remember the name of it. Do you recall the name of what Princess is doing? They have a certain name.
Our producer will be on that one. It's on the Sphere class. I don't think it's called Sphere though.
I'm listening to my ear. Heidi, you there? Oh, it doesn't work, but yeah.
Comes to shoot.
Yeah. Oh, the Sun class, right? Is it Sun class?
The 360 experience. That's why we keep her beautiful.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
The Sun class. Well, the Sun is Sun Princess. It's the Sphere class. So 360-degree experience. So Sphere round. Similar. They've done some previews for media. We weren't able to check it out, but it seems very similar to that kind of experience. Yeah, where they use interactive digital screens, tell a story. Also kind of reminiscent a little bit, although not as, I think it's not technologically advanced, but there's also Le Petit Chef on Celebrity, right? That uses the projection technology on your table to tell a story. Obviously, this is more immersive, this whole journey train experience, but it's also just another way to get people in there to serve them kind of a media. Le Petit Chef we've done a few times, and sometimes the food's pretty good, and sometimes it's just okay. But everyone there is got their phone and they're staring at. It's a cartoon. I mean, it's a cartoon. It's cool. It's fun. So this is just a way to bring, I think, more realism to it.
Yeah, and it just like I remember internet cafes were new, and then Wi-Fi was new, and so
internet cafes. How old are you, John?
So this is like new things. It's like something new that the brands are starting to embrace, and then you're seeing them go, fleet wide. They start on the newest ships, and then some of them work their way back. But they get a test run and see how popular they are. But apparently, they must be very popular as they're building them out across different types of brands. So you're seeing them. So stay tuned for your favorite cruise line. They might have something similar start as well on the next ship.
Right. And as these ships get bigger, you need to figure out what you're going to put on them. So that's the other thing too, is you don't want to just have every ship have all the same stuff, like a virtual reality room or an escape room or these things. So it's like, what can we do that's different and also a little bit more inclusive? Maybe folks don't want to interact in an escape room experience, or they're not interested in doing some of these other things. So you're like, well, this interactive dinner experience, and it's probably going to be family friendly. I'm assuming so. So they'll welcome your kids on the train and check out whatever the area is, region that you're training in, if that's what we're checking out. So that's a cool thing. I think, as always, we've covered a lot of the dining. We talked about my favorite new bar, Pesky Parrot, earlier. Folks, if you have questions, experiences, John and I both sailed on Wonder of the Seas. We've done a lot on Icon of the Seas. Royal Caribbean mega ships are our thing. We're excited for, again, Utopia of the Seas setting sail July. Get those bookings in. What do you want to know? We do have a question from Song 113 No More. Any thoughts on other port stops in Coco Cay? Well, they haven't. I mean, the 3 and 4 dayers will do Coco Cay, and I believe NASA, right? It's probably going to be on the 4-dayer. And then I would assume when it goes to a 7-day itinerary, it would probably do the Eastern, Western Caribbean routes. Wouldn't you think?
Yeah, I'm not sure what their question is, because you'd have to almost give me a little more specifics to let me know what port you're talking about. But of course, I think they're going to offer the similar ports. They're going to obviously Coco Cay, Perfect Day Coco Cay is going to be like the highlight. But I have to take a closer look at the itinerary to see exactly what the other ports.
I think it's just that. I mean, it's going to be, I think, a pretty traditional 3 and 4 dayer. So 3 days is going to be NASA and Perfect Day, and then the 4-day, the same thing with like a sea day. You can't really go anywhere else. I wouldn't think. I don't know if you could get down to Labadee, their other private island, and back to Port Canaveral. It's not that far from Miami.
That usually takes a while, yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. It's leaving from Port Canaveral, which John mentioned earlier, which I actually think is great for families because MCO, Orlando Airport, it's a little bit easier to get to. There's that brand new terminal that is built there, so there's definitely going to be more availability for flights. And then maybe you bucket the 3 or 4 day cruise or something else to do. There's a lot to do on the Space Coast. We spent 3 or 4 days there pre-cruise back in, and it was a 22, I think, or 21. You got so many family-friendly activities there at Cocoa Beach. You got Kennedy Space Center, the Everglades, or if you get convinced to do it, you could always just stay in Orlando, right? There's plenty of theme parks there too. So it gives you a little bit more flexibility if you want to make a week-long vacation. You do the shorter, 3 or 4 days, and then you can do something nearby, or you can just go to Orlando and do Disney, do Universal, SeaWorld, all that fun stuff.
Yeah, it's a great part of the world to visit, and there's so much to do. There's no shortage, that's for sure. And Port Canaveral is one of my favorite ports. Really easy to get in and out of.
Yeah, especially flights are much easier for us, but it's still okay to get to Miami or Fort Lauderdale. But I think Port Canaveral, even though it's a little bit further from the airport, there's so much to do there, so many hotels and lots of stuff that you can bucket together. So having a shorter cruise doesn't bother me either. So you could just check out some of the stuff we've written, best things to do near Port Canaveral, and you can extend that vacation longer. And there's lots of brand new hotels that they built there that are easy on the wallet and still allow you to get around and go everywhere. So that's a port of call in itself, Port Canaveral.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Heidi's got a thought here for 25, the new Royal Beach Club. In NASA, they are building another private resort area. It's not a separate island, but it's on NASA. So odds are when Utopia is coming back, because they'll probably do the summer here, stay through the winter, and then they haven't really announced what the plans are. But with all these ships, they'll send some to Europe in summer of 25, because this is debuting here in 24. Wonder's over there in Europe. So now that they have so many of these ships, they got to think of different places to put them.
Yeah, and I think they're obviously going heavy in the Florida market, for short cruises. I think because I think sometimes people can get away on these shorter cruises, depending on what the economy is doing. And now that you can get on a brand new ship, have the best of everything, and go have amazing experiences, at Perfect Day Coco Cay, and then the Royal Beach Club in the future. I know NASA, Bahamas have done some amazing things. So looking forward to that.
Yeah. Let's see some other things this is one we're going to, well, it's not a big deal, but it's kind of like, this is it. Is this the right slide I'm looking for? Yeah. So folks who really get on top of things will know, of course, the Ultimate Abyss is a dry slide that debuted on, did it debut on Symphony of the Seas? I want to say. We'll get our producer to check on that one. I want to say it was Symphony.
Could have.
Now they've kind of built them back on the other ones, but this year, World Europa from MSC Cruises launched and built a similar dry slide that was bigger than the Ultimate Abyss on the other Oasis class? Well, Royal Caribbean said, hold my beer, MSC. And now they have enhanced the Ultimate Abyss, so it's going to be bigger than World Europa. And if you can see here, they've added some clear, you can't see my arrows, but I can see my mouse pointing at, they have these now clear area, and they've added some little sections to give you more speed.
Oh, wow.
Well, I mean, listen, I'm not a tiny guy, but and when you see this massive slide, you're like, oh, people get afraid. But I think they've pitched it in such a way that you can almost go too slow at some time. So I think they added this to make sure you get out, because I've definitely have made it to the bottom and had to like scoot kind of out of it. And then I see little kids come flying out of it. So they've enhanced it with this clear tubes, or adding some rollers in there to ensure you get some better speed. So really enhancing the Ultimate Abyss, and basically saying MSC, yeah, don't play in our turf. We're like, we got the biggest dry slides at sea. Even Norwegian Primo, which came out, has slides. Theirs are the fastest. They have the drop slide. I think they claim it's the fastest, or you reach certain speeds. But these ships are so massive, Royal Caribbean's like, yeah, Ultimate Abyss, that's ours. We're going to be the biggest.
Yeah, of course they have to always stay ahead. Very competitive.
Why not? And I mean, at least they're making it seem like maybe that additional section will make you go a little bit faster and just make it a little bit more unique. And this is another great thing I like about Royal Caribbean too. A lot of the stuff is included in the cruise fare, right? It's not an upcharge, whereas other attractions and some cruise lines, they do charge you. Like, they have laser tag. Laser tags will be back on board here in the Studio B. That's complimentary. Ultimate Abyss, complimentary. They have the water slides. They're gonna have the Perfect Storm, similar to the other Oasis class. Those are all free too. So they have a lot of stuff on board that once you pay the cruise fare, you're not getting nickeled and dimed.
That's my favorite word on cruise.
You love that saying, I know.
Complimentary.
Right for you.
We've talked about this.
Yeah. Well, you're a Viking cruiser. Folks forget that. Yeah. Only the best for John and his wife. Solarium Suites and no nickel and diming. So.
Yeah.
So we got a question here. So from our friend Tom on YouTube. Thanks. What are our thoughts on the balconies being part of the room? So I think he's talking, John, about kind of those infinite veranda style balconies that don't necessarily jet out of the room. They kind of are part of the room with a sliding partition and different things. I'm not a huge fan of them. I like a real, what I would consider more real balcony, but I know some folks are more fans of them. What's your take on it?
Yeah, I think it's almost like optional. You know, like the Cove balconies came on Carnival, and so they have this different kind of a class, a cabin or category of stateroom. So I don't think it's going to take over everything. I don't expect that. I think they're just kind of sprinkling them in to see how they work, because some people might like the option of, okay, I have more square footage of interior space, you know, finished interior space where you can have a bigger couch, and they can add nice more creature comforts in the interior of the room, but you still kind of have a balcony, you know, where you can look over the edge. But yeah, of course, you don't have the open sky and so on and so forth, you know, and you know, the kind of get the wind in your hair kind of stuff. So I'm still kind of with you, Don. Are you saying, yeah, I don't really have hair, do I? But my daughter here, I think I'm getting stigmatized by my daughter because she's been picking on me lately, but for my lack of hair. I don't know what you're talking about. I had hair once, but
we all did. The other thing I would say too, it's very region specific. So we were just in Alaska. I know, John, you were in Alaska earlier. Yeah. And there's nothing like going out on what I would call, I guess, a traditional balcony. You walk out, like you said, you can look over, you see the glaciers or your wildlife sighting. You're looking for bears or eagles. So that's almost crucial to have what I would consider a traditional balcony. But in the Caribbean, the infinite verandas, or I don't know what Icon calls them, but that's, I mean, they made a big splash on the Edge class, and now several classes of ships that you mentioned to have them. In the Caribbean, I'm like, I still don't love it, but it's passable to me. I don't think I could go in Alaska and have one of those, because to me, it's just a window. It's this big window that pulls down, and you can't really see around people. I definitely a no starter for me in Alaska, but in the Caribbean, I think on Icon that's what we do have, because the true ocean view balcony sold out like that when we booked it. So we'll be reporting back on what we think of it, because those are I think that's the first Royal ship that's going to have that style of balcony is Icon. So I don't love them, but I guess I'd rather have that than an ocean view. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's kind of how I look at it. It's like a nice ocean view. It's kind of like a ocean view that with a roll down window, you know. But of course,
true.
You know, but it's great though. I mean, it's great, and I can totally see people that would like that. You know, they don't like the heat. It's humid out. They would rather have that interior space. So to me, it's just a nice, different category room that will probably be, you know, instead of just having inside, outside, and you know, balcony cabin and then suite, you're going to have, you know, infinite, you know, veranda or whatever they want to call it, you know, that style cabin, you know, where they can use that in those places that they might not necessarily have just a balcony. So I think it's just another option that we're going to get used to as cruisers.
And it's still an upgrade. So if that becomes a trend with the technology, that they're able to have some of the lower decks be infinite veranda style, then they have a more traditional balcony, and then depending where the ship may be, all the way forward or the way aft. I'm all for that. I think it's an upgrade from a little porthole for sure. Yeah. And I mean, our favorite still, obviously suites are great, but I still am a big fan of the aft or sunset, depending on the cruise line, the aft balconies with the newer ship designs where you can just kind of look over the wake, and usually the balcony's a little bit bigger. That's one of our favorites. And actually we're spoiled. But Heidi's talking about I couldn't afford a Solarium Suite. I'm taking her on taking my wife on a European cruise in Celebrity Beyond, one of our favorite class of ships. Aft sunset balcony for like 10 or 11 days. Okay. I don't think she should be complaining.
Yeah, Heidi, I don't know. Hello, check yourself. Oh.
Check. Well, I wouldn't go that far, John. Personal shoot coming. So Tom says, thanks for back. Appreciate it, Tom. Like I said, if you're looking at ships that have that, I would definitely book that over an Ocean View. As I mentioned, Icon has both Ocean View Traditional and Ocean View Infinite, whatever they're calling it, and we got one of those. We'll report back next year on how we like it. So, ask your questions. We're excited. Utopia sailings go on sale tomorrow for those Crown and Anchor folks. The next day for non-Crown and Anchor. But if you're watching this, odds are you're probably a Crown and Anchor person. There was a question, I think, John, about Alaska early on, so my apologies if I missed it. Someone said we've been talking about Alaska a lot, but here, Tom, I'm sorry, Tom, we had another question earlier. I'm going to have to go talk to my producer after. She's not notifying us here about the kids' spaces. I think Royal does a good job, right, with Adventure Ocean being its own little area, and then the Solarium is the adults. They say adults, but 16 plus area. I think they do a pretty good job of separating all the different areas. So kids go one way, adults go another, right, John?
Yeah, I mean, I feel so. I mean, I think the only exception might be the splash, you know, the pool area, at the top. But even that's kind of separated on the newer ships.
Well, Wonder, what they did with Wonder, right? They kind of moved where the splash area was forward more. So like the splash area in the family pool, and in the back they call it the main pool, adult pool. I mean, they look the same, but I think that made it a little bit easier. So families tended to be a little bit more forward on Wonder, and you had the main pool with that stadium style seating overlooking their large screen. So, and then Adventure Ocean tends to have all the kids area in that one deck. It's going to be an upper deck usually. I don't remember the exact deck number. And then the teens have their own little area. So I think I wouldn't be concerned. But there's going to be July. There's going to be families, a lot of families on there anyway.
Yeah, I've never been worried about it, or it's never stood out as a problem. But you just remind when you said the big screen. I remember on Wonder of the Seas that was kind of like a thing where it was right over the. Well, my brain just locked up. Sorry.
Like Central Park, they had two divisions over Central Park.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
It was more aft.
Aft. Yeah. I wonder if they're going to move that, or if it's going to be in the same place, because that was a little controversial on that because they put that there, and there was a lot of noise and stuff going down in the Central Park at times, and very bright, kind of like a Times Square look. That some people were kind of like, I don't know if that needs to be there,
That I do remember folks saying that now. So they're always tinkering, right? They're always trying to figure out how to optimize, because every major cruise line, right, who has a big ship has some type of version of movies on the pool, on the Lido deck, Princess Movies Under the Stars. Carnival has their movies there, so Royal kind of repositioned that screen there. Maybe they'll move it again. I don't know. We haven't really seen a lot of concept art for this particular sun deck, but I would think it's going to be more similar to Wonder than the older ships. So time will tell. This is what I was looking for. Our friend Kurt, who just got back from a cruise on Discovery Princess. Honestly, I had a great time. What's up, if Kurt? If you're still around, I know this is from a little earlier ago. So sorry I didn't see it, but folks, no, we were very fortunate, John and I, to go on several Alaska cruises earlier this season, I should say, and we did a couple lives answering Alaska questions. So Alaska's beautiful. Go back there. That's one thing, though. You'll never see one of these ships, right? Utopia.
Yeah.
And there's only so many places they can go, and Alaska is definitely not one of them, right?
Yeah. Well, thanks, Kurt, for checking in, and I'm glad you got to go to Alaska, and thanks for all your kind words.
Yeah, definitely. So, I'm trying to think of. We talked about the teen stuff. We talked about the bars, dining, the staterooms that you're not gonna buy me, or your wife. What else? What other things there? Well, the one thing we don't know is we don't know who the godmother's going to be. I feel Royal. I feel like this ebbs and flows. We talked about this, I think, last week or 2 weeks ago, where doesn't make sense. You know, sometimes you have a huge celebrity who does godmother, and then sometimes it's a contest or someone you've never heard of.
Yeah.
And I'm really wondering what your thoughts are looking ahead into your crystal ball there.
I have no idea, because I think, they used to kind of have, like, you could kind of predict it, but now it's so unpredictable. Maybe they'll use social media campaign or something like that. Or maybe, I don't know, the times are different lately too. I think they really want to have iconic people.
Well, they had the Wonder. So Wonder of the Seas was the Wonder Mom. If you remember, there was the TikTok challenge.
That was great.
And which was, I thought it fit that brand, right? So teenagers and other folks on TikTok, those kiddos nominated their super mom, and that's some really great stories there. I don't know what the word utopia. I don't know what you can do with that. It's almost that's a big sell. It's like, this is it. It's utopia. Like, it's not getting any better than this. So it's got to live up to that name.
Yeah, so I think it's going to be real interesting what they come up with.
Yeah.
If you have any ideas, if anybody can think of any ideas, please put them in the comments below.
Yeah.
We'd love to hear your guess, because we're kind of puzzled. I think we're both kind of like, hey, Utopia of the Seas. Who are they going to have for that? Like, I don't know.
I think it's almost a step. Icon. Obviously, when you think of someone who's Icon, so Icon of the Seas, it has this tone to it. But Utopia, I think, almost one ups it. So it's an interesting.
Maybe someone like a Nobel Peace Prize winner. I don't know. I'm just trying to think. Utopia.
So I'm out of the running then. I'm definitely not me.
Well, Heidi says you're a lover, not a fighter, so it's possible.
Possible. So I'm not. Believe me, no one's nominating me for any contest. No one's like, Don from Meat Sleep Cruise needs to be some type of overseer or godparent of a ship.
I think we both could be the godparents or godbrothers or something, because they have a 2-story Italian restaurant on board. Hello, we're the guys.
That is for sure. Listen, Jay Leno was just the godfather for Carnival, right? He's the first godfather. Royals had a god family. They haven't had god Italian YouTubers. I don't know.
Yeah, right here, we need to contact Matt. He's got connections. So
yeah, where's Royal PR on this? You guys are dropping the ball.
I could have, Giovanni's could have my meatball recipe. You could bring the Sunday gravy. We got it going on right here.
They have the house wine there. They have one of the concepts. They have the house wine. That's, I feel like, $5 a glass. It's almost like we're giving it to them. It's almost this is easy for them. Folks, let us know if you agree. It couldn't be any worse. I guess it could, but they couldn't do any worse than us.
Right. So that's great.
But Heidi already answered this, but Controversial Cruising did ask, so going back quick to Alaska, and I know we usually go about an hour, so folks, get those questions in. If you have anything else about Royal, Utopia, Icon, megaships in general, Heidi already mentioned to bring layers. Big controversials going on a Alaska cruise. Any other tips for what to bring?
Oh, let's see. Wow, we covered so much last time. I'm trying to think of if there's something new to say.
The layers, still bring a bathing suit.
Suntan lotion.
We have some photos. People are in the hot tubs when you're glacier viewing.
Things that we brought that we might not have mentioned last time is just to have it because you never know. Suntan lotion, because you could, if the sun's, it might go from cloudy to completely no clouds, blue skies, and you're on the ocean. So think of if I'm going to be your parent, say you're going to be on a boat in the middle of the ocean, and no clouds. So make sure the UV rays can really hurt you. So you need to protect yourself if you're going to be exposed. And you easily could be on an excursion in that type of going to a glacier, and you could easily get burned. Also, if you go on some of these hikes and stuff like that, the national bird for Alaska is the mosquito. So some people might not pack that. I did. We didn't need to use it, but we were prepared because mosquitoes can carry you away, especially if you do like a land tour combination. I would have that in my bag. So if you find a situation where, okay, the topography's changed, there's a lot of mosquitoes here, at least you have that because, those things are going to be hard to find potentially. So those are two things that come to mind. Of course, we'll talk about binoculars. They sell them on board a lot of times, but you're going to probably pay a premium. Maybe you buy some of these things, at home or on Amazon, whatever, while you have the time and the resources to do it before you go. And it's just nice to have it in your bag, right?
Yeah. And you can rent some of that stuff. I brought this up too. So I agree with John. You're going to probably be out more doing active stuff versus, say, the Caribbean where you lay on a beach, which you definitely want suntan lotion. But I got burnt on our last Alaska cruise. I came back, I'm more tan than when I went to the Caribbean with my brother and his wife back in May, just because I didn't, I packed it in the suitcase and then unpack it. So that doesn't help. But you definitely want to have those day packs where you have all that available to you. And the weather changes so quickly. We were up, I think we were in Juneau. We did the Beltram up to the top, and it was kind of foggy, a little buggy. So you spray a little bit of stuff on. It definitely helps out. So, but Alaska is beautiful, great controversial cruising. You'll have a great time.
Oh, you know what? One more thing is what sticks out is also think about your footwear. If some people are like, I'm going to go hike because there are hiking options. Even I know Icy Straight Point had a trail at the top there, and depending on how footed you are, you may want to wear I don't know the best way to say it, but a mild walking hiking shoe where it can handle different things. I even recommend the same thing even for like European river cruise where you're walking on cobblestone streets where things aren't necessarily just all flat. That makes a big difference where you get the ankle support and you get the support of walking on uneven surfaces like hiking or what have you, or even like I said, cobblestone streets. Or I know the Marksburg Castle was really hard to walk around there. So definitely think about your footwear. Does it take up more space? It can be more, weight. Yeah, but it's nice to have the option to protect your feet on those unique places. So you can't wear flip-flops and Crocs everywhere, So like on a Caribbean cruise, especially in Alaska, if you really want to get out there.
Right. Well, and I think also too, socks. So even if you don't have those shoes, bring some nice thick wool socks. They actually weigh less. And a lot of cruise ships do have laundry. Not all of them, so double check. I don't know what brand, but Princess, some Carnival ships do too. Hahnemark Line too. They have self-service laundry. So for a couple bucks, you can always wash some of those things, especially if it's really rainy and wet and you don't want to pack too many things. But John and I have talked about this. We're not the people that ask about packing. Heidi and I bring 2 large suitcases in a small suitcase. Those folks who go to Alaska, carry on only, I don't know how they're doing it. We can't even go we wouldn't even go, our 4-day, we're going to go on a 3 or 4 day Utopia cruise. I guarantee we'll each have a suitcase. I guarantee it.
Yeah, we've talked about this several times. I don't know how people do that. And I think we are going to have someone come on and show our audience, tell us the basics of how, because it's a foreign concept to me. And I know me and Heidi, we've all talked about this at dinner together. It's a foreign concept to us as a group here, how anybody can just go with a carry-on. It's just like how, why, we don't know.
I don't know. Well, we know Sherry from Cruise Tips TV. She's amazing. She's great at packing. Ilana from Lifewell Cruise. We met her earlier this year. She's great. She has some packing tips. We'll find out. I want to do a test, but Heidi won't let me. I want to just do it. Just go on a short cruise and be like, this is, do a video, an article. This is what I packed in my carry-on. Like, what happens? But she won't let me do it. So just like I want to go back, I want to just to try it.
She's like, no, Don, no, it's not happening. No.
Well, just like our like toiletries and stuff like suntan lotion and bug spray and all that stuff, that takes up a small suitcase in itself, and then you have to check it, right? Because the 3-ounce rule flying US still in effect for no reason, but you're stuck checking your bags anyway. So it's I don't know. We'll figure it out one day. I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna book something. Just go. Just one day. Just go with the carry-on, and then if I have to buy new clothes, you buy some new clothes. What's the worst thing?
I think the whole thing's crazy too. I'm just, when you were just right at the end, maybe it conjured up a vision of being at the airport, you're sitting there, and you see these people with looking like they're just they've got all this stuff on their body. So yeah, they're carrying on, but they got a backpack that's too big. They've got like a personal item that's really like a piece of luggage. I don't know what. So they can say they're carrying on, but really they're not. They're just trying to move their whole house and carry it on the plane, but they're really not just going on a trip with just a carry-on. So
we sound like old curmudgeons, but this is my rule of thumb: if you can't fit it into the overhead bin, then it's not a carry-on. Or you see people with those backpacks that are 3-4 feet tall and they're walking on. This is my backpack. I'm like, no, that's a small human being. Like you should be checking that. And then when they get to the gate, inevitably you'll hear it this season, right? This flight's 100% sold out. We need 15 or whatever, 20 volunteers to gate check your bag. And those are the people who don't gate check it. And I'm like, so no, you should be making those people. Because
they're hardcore. They're like, we carry our stuff on. We don't check anything.
Yeah. I got valuable stuff here. I don't want to get lost. You should have put it in like a hard case. But we do have some packing, like general packing things, like what you need to pack, and it's a laundry list of stuff. That's why we get to it. So I don't. Last question. I think we'll end with this. We talked about it earlier. Tom asked about the back-to-backs. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people, Pinnacle people high up, Diamond Plus, Diamond people on Royal, book some back-to-backs on Utopia, especially off-season, as John mentioned. Summer is going to be high, but come September, the fall, rates will be a little bit lower. Than the holidays, they pick back up again, right?
Yeah, first week of December, they're going to say, look, people are going to compare the price of first week of December to July, August, and say, we got such a great value, or we just had a great rate. And people just like to be on new ships. So you go to those repeater parties, and they start saying, there's people that want to experience that new ship and say they were the first, in that inaugural year. And yeah, you'd be surprised what they do. So if you can think it, Tom, they'll do it.
Well, I mean, everyone likes to be on these ships as long as possible, right? So 7 days for an Oasis class is still a lot to get stuff in. So 3 or 4 days, everyone knows off the bat, well, I'm not going to get to see everything. And we didn't get to talk about, that's the one thing we still don't know much about, what's the entertainment going to be like on Utopia. Yeah. But we do know there's going to be an Aqua Theater. So I bet top-notch Aqua Theater show. Nick Ware and the production team at Royal Caribbean's always upping their game. Intense on Wonder, amazing, high energy, nonstop action.
Really great.
Theater is going to have at least one signature production, if not 2. Who knows? Maybe Effectors 3, make it a trilogy. I don't know what they're going to be doing. So and then there's always a nice show. There's other, the live music throughout the ship. In 3 days, you're not going to be able to get to see all that stuff. It might not even run. I mean, it will run, but there's no way you'll be able to jam all of those in because you got to make reservations. So Oasis-class, for folks know, they have these big entertainment venues, but you normally have to make your reservations in advance or go standby if you don't have reservations. So on a 7-day cruise, it's tough to get in those usually 2 production shows, ice show, and the Aqua Theater show. Never mind 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, so it'll be a challenge. And but I know what's great about Oasis-class ships is it's all good. It's all great. And they really do feel like a floating resort. So whatever you do, have a good time. You're not going to necessarily be able to do everything on a 3-4 night cruise, but pick your favorites and try to pre-plan and reserve them as early as you can. Most likely.
You've got to pre-plan. So get those reservations. I think Royal is usually 90 or 120. used to be 90 or 120 days, but I want to say they've made it closer to the actual sailing date when you can book those things. Same thing with specialty restaurants. John and I were talking about Giovanni's, or I mentioned the Mason Jar earlier. You want to book those reservations before you get on the ship. You can book it on your cruise planner. Again, usually those open up a few months before sailing, maybe even earlier, depending on. I think things are just they're still working things out because of COVID. But once those are available, book them. You can always cancel them a couple days before you're sailing for whatever reason if you decide to do something different. Because in 3 or 4 days, you're going to have to pick and choose what you want to do, or do the back-to-back like Tom asked. And I know we're thinking of doing back-to-back. I'm sure plenty of other people will do back-to-back-to-backs. I like Coco Cay. I have no problems going to Coco Cay twice in a week. I think our record's 3 times in 7 days. We did something where it was a press, like a preview cruise, a shakedown cruise, and then like a 5-day cruise. So in the span, I want to say of 7 days, we got the perfect day 3 times.
So what's your favorite thing at Perfect Day?
That's a great question. So my perfect so the water park is amazing if you get it for the right price and there's not 2 ships docked. So like everything since last year or so, prices have kind of gone up. If you get a good deal on the water park, you get off your ship early, do the Devil's Peak, do all those body slides. Then they have tube slides, wave pool. I love the water park. I'm a big kid. Complimentary thing to do. You can go all the way down the South Beach. It's kind of the quieter area. They have some sports areas there. You can just sit on the beach and do absolutely nothing. There's a little sports area a little bit closer on Chill Island. They have beach volleyball. They have some basketball nets. You don't have to spend any money, in my opinion. What about you? There's a Lagoon Beach too, the swim up bar. If you have a drink package, it works like Perfect Day, unlike some other cruise lines. So your drink package works on Royal Caribbean's private island. Or if you're Diamond or Diamond Plus, you get the drink vouchers. They also work on Perfect Day. So I use one of my drink vouchers at the swim up bar, get a Coco Loco or a rum punch or whatever, and just kind of chill in the pool. So technically that's free for me. But.
Yeah, I love the Lagoon Pool. I've been there twice, and that was a favorite for us. So just really, really like it. It just lets you chill out. Literally, it's nice and cool. Sometimes it's crazy hot there in the afternoon. The swim up bar is right there. You kind of just walk around the pool, do some people watching, and it's nice and cool, and get a Coco Loco and just forget about any of your worries or concerns and just enjoy it,
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the nicest private islands, any cruise line. I think it ranks at the top. Each cruise line's private island has something that makes it unique. I think Royal Caribbean has a little bit of everything with the water park, if you want to do that, with the Lagoon Beach or Lagoon Pool, or just the various beaches. They also have a straw market. I think they're adding up this part of the Hideaway is going to be a spa when that opens next year. They're going to have that adults only area. So right now there's no official adults only area, but they're working on having that adding to the island. So they're still improving it. If you want to splurge, you can get a cabana. We have checked out. We've been nice enough to get tours and spend an afternoon in some of the overwater cabanas or the Coco Beach Club, which is a little bit more elevated experience. So it's
very nice.
It's very nice. They have an upscale lunch there with lobster. They have their own private pool. Even if you don't get a cabana, just a pass there. They have a nice beach just for you. So that's away from the crowds. It's secluded.
Yeah, I would definitely consider a pass there.
It's really nice. If you want to be a baller, go for one of those overwater cabanas. They're amazing.
That's it. That's the bomb.
That's it. That's there, and you can bring 8 I think people.
Yeah, there's definitely some. If you have a family cruise or a group of friends are going or what have you, and you can break it up, it can be. I think it's a pretty good value, right?
If you can share, yes and no, right? If you can share it, then it helps a little bit. I mean, whatever folks want to spend money on, I would save that money. As Heidi would say, though, I'm cheap apparently.
No, the word is not economical, right?
They're not. No, they're really nice. Just like everything, the prices of those have gone up pretty high, I think. And depending on your cruise, it's all dynamic pricing, right? So people ask me all the time, well, what's the price of this? What's the price of that? And I say, well, when we went on it 3 weeks ago, this is how much it costs, but now it could be different. So they changed. The pricing is variable based on the ship you're on, time of year. But the Coco Beach Club is, I think it's nice just to go if you get the day passes at the right price.
It is beautiful.
I wouldn't spend more than $100 on it. I know they can range from $100 to over $200. Some folks have told me it's like $225 on their cruise, $250. I don't think it's worth that, but I think $100 makes per person is fine. And then those overwater cabanas, I mean, they've been $3,000. They've been all over.
That's up there, yeah.
Yeah, they can get up there. So if they're closer to the original starting price, used to be around $1,500, $1,700, okay. But I haven't seen that pricing in a while. And I doubt on Utopia they'll be closer to the $3,000 for sure.
Yeah,
people spend.
That's a whole new thing. This dynamic pricing. It seems like it's almost for everything. Where people like us, the content creators, say, "Oh, well, that's $50 or that's $150 or what have you." Well, now it's all based on demand, right? So,
it is. Yeah, that's the only thing we try to tell folks. Look in your cruise planner. That's why we always tell book early, and then just you have to monitor things, even like drink packages or those shore excursions. If there's a sale, we try to promote sales, share it on social. Like, hey, check your cruise planner. Same thing I did with my brother. I mentioned. He was going to get the drink package. I found what I thought was a good deal for the drink package, and it basically held. He got 30% off, which was better than the ship, which was 25% off, which is better than full price. So you always have to stay on top of this. And the key is just know you can cancel usually within 3 to 4 days of your sailing. So if you find a price, shore excursion, specialty dinner, whatever it is, you book it, and then the price changes, or you just have a change of heart, change of mind, you can still cancel it, get your money back, basically up to a few days before you're sailing. Once you're on the ship, you can probably still get your money back. It's just more hassles, right? You got to kind of, they'll be like, oh, there's a 48-hour cancellation fee. But if you talk to some folks, usually they can do it. But you don't want to get into that situation either, right? So monitoring those prices are important for everything now. There's no one, like I said, no one set price. It changes all the time.
Yeah, don't be that guy or gal that waits till they get on the ship. I think, especially with Royal Caribbean, because it's going to be gone, and your choices are going to be much more limited if there are options. But Royal Caribbean, more than any brand that sticks out in my mind, it's significant sales. Sometimes it's linked to your status level, as far as if you're, what level you are, repeat cruiser, and also how early it is, how early you booked. And it changes. Sometimes, for this week it's this, and then as sailing gets closer, it can change quickly. So like Don's saying, so definitely log in and pay attention with Royal Caribbean, because it can mean a lot of money. And you can get, it can be much better value if you book these things earlier.
Yeah, and they do kind of predictable sales too. They'll probably have some kind of 4th of July sale coming up. They'll do Black Friday sales if you're doing a holiday sailing, or you've booked, like we've booked Utopia for next year. Well, our plan is to book it tomorrow. That's not until July of 24. Well, Black Friday deals, they often have things. So you can also just check the actual prices of the fares, and a good travel advisor will let you know. Odds are newer ships only get more expensive, but you never know. There could be a deal where even the cruise fare goes down, and the travel advisor and our travel advisor's fought for us. He's gotten us onboard credits. He's gotten us partial refunds. Even if it's just onboard credit, that can be used towards drink packages, especially dining, whatever the case may be. So it's definitely, now you got to be on the hunt for those deals, and just don't think, well, that's the price. If you heard one person quote a price, that's not a guarantee. That odds are that's not the price. That was the price that day, that ship, that sailing, right?
Yeah, and cruising is hot. I mean, people literally cruising's never been selling out like it is today. Even with the new ships coming on board, sales are they're record breaking. There's nothing to compare this to in the past. They say a lot of it's due to pent up demand from COVID. A lot of the restrictions that were in place, or even kind of in place overseas, for some brands, are just lifting them now, like Viking, for example. They're all gone now in the future. So people feel
Viking still had, I didn't realize that Viking still had a vaccination requirement, huh?
Because they weren't just US based, a lot of times it was pretty much linked to the countries they were visiting. They were being more conservative to those places. So they just made it, in the course of visiting different places too. So it was just a harder situation for them, because they weren't your traditional 7-night cruises out of Miami. They were starting in one place, ending in another place.
No, that's fair. It's fair. I just not if folks have any questions. There are right now. Royal Caribbean doesn't have any requirements. They do ask. So when we got to Harmony Seas, they asked if we were vaccinated. We said we were. We were double boosted. I think it's double boosted. But they didn't ask for any verification, and I think that's just data collection. There's no restrictions, no health protocols in place. And cruising's back 100%, as John mentioned, right there. It's just like 2019 all over again. Just more ships, more people are ready to cruise. If anything, things are a little bit busier.
Yeah. So definitely, if you want to cruise, I know we talked to Tim, had made a comment earlier. He's thinking about doing it. If you want to cruise on Utopia, and you're definitely, if you're a past cruiser, look at those sales. I know it says goes. Is it tomorrow? I know we.
Yeah, tomorrow for Crown. John, come on. You know,
Sorry,
tomorrow, Crown and Anchor Society. You should, if you're not already talking to your travel advisor, you're already behind. There it is. And then Friday, if you're a cruiser but you've never cruised the Royal Caribbean, even if you're not a cruiser at all, if you've just never sailed Royal Caribbean flat, then they go on sale the 23rd. Talk to your travel advisor. We've answered, I think, a lot of questions. But I'm sure we'll have more updates about Icon and Utopia Seas as we learn more about these ships over the next year or so. Excited to sail on them. Where can folks find you online?
Right now I'm here.
Right now you're there?
Yeah,
well, what happens when
right here. I'm in the library here. But thanks, Don. I'm John Schaller, Cruise Addicts at cruiseaddicts.com. And of course, you can reach me on social media at Cruise Addicts. We'd love to hear from you. Love to have you visit. And if you haven't already, please give us a like, subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. And I hope you all are happy planning for your cruises for this summer, and then for the future. Next summer. That's right. We're in the summer. I'm losing track of time here. But yeah, thank you again. And Don, where can they find you?
Yeah, well, time goes by fast. It's crazy to think that some cruises are already being booked for summer of 25. So we're in 23, 24, and 25.
Yeah.
Thanks, John. I'm Don from Eat, Sleep, Cruise. You can find us at Eat, Sleep, Cruise all over the interwebs, all over social media, Don and Heidi. If you have questions, of course, you can reach out to us on social media, not only about Utopia, Royal Caribbean, really any of the major cruise lines. We sail on all the mega ships. And we'll get another live, John and I don't know. We'll let you know. We'll give a little bit more heads up with breaking news. We can do live, but it's John, is always a pleasure. Good time as always.
Yeah, thanks, Don, and have a good night. And of course, best to Heidi, the queen in command.
She's the princess.
The princess. I'm sorry. I could hear her go, John, it's the princess.
It's the princess.
The princess, the powerful princess. I don't know. I have to get something that rhymes. But all the best to you guys. And wherever you guys are, happy planning and happy cruising. Until next time.
Until next time. Thanks.